We know what we went through when the Southwest was wild, wild west. We do not want wild, wild west. They should stay away from this zone. We just want to peacefully deliver dividends to our people. And nobody should resort to self-help. Even if you have court judgments, there's a process. Let the process go through.
I congratulate all newly elected council chairmen and councillors. You have the mandate to deliver a good governance in your respective local governments. I charge you to develop plans of action within the manifesto of People's Democratic Party, PDP. As our government is transforming the state for the better, I call on you to be agent of change, community developer, and deliverer of dividends of democracy. I urge you and your councillors to please stay away from the council secretariat to avoid any clash with those whom the police had aided to forcefully occupy the local government secretariats. We will rely on the judiciary to ensure a peaceful removal of those illegally occupying the local government secretariats.
The Osun State governor there, and really with the local government elections in Osun State, it does beg the question, what's going on? Is this really an election? How did they do it? Earlier in that same report, we have a track of the Osun State INEC person saying that the materials were locked up in their secretariat and the police are there. We saw the Attorney General of the Federation saying that they should not have this election because there is a court order that says this election shouldn't hold. They're already local government chairman. But the elections went ahead and held. And how did they hold? Of course, we've seen over the past few months local government elections in Nigeria, and we're seeing that from civil society, saying that these local government elections do not stand up anywhere near where the standards of local elections should be. And then, of course, there's the peculiar case of Ekiti. So we're going to have a conversation with some of the people involved in this process. We have with us Kolakpo Alimi, Commissioner for Information, Osun State, joining us via Zoom from Osogbo. Good morning.
Good morning, my sister. Good morning, our viewers.
Yes, and then we have Jamiu Olawumi, who's an APC chieftain, also joining us from Osogbo in Osun State. Thank you so much, Jamiu, for being with us on the program.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting us.
I'm going to start off with the Commissioner for Communication, Mr. Kolakpo. You know what we've heard? We've heard everything that's happening right now. We heard what the governor said. We've heard everybody's take on these elections. I want to get your thoughts on the controversy around this election. The Attorney General of the Federation said this election shouldn't have held. There is a court order according to him, not according to the APC. I'm talking about the Attorney General of the Federation. There's a court order that says that the local government chairmen have already been reinstated. So who are these new people? And how is this supposed to work out? Talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on that controversy.
Thank you very much. Before I answer your question, let me first of all react to your introductory statement that because the office of POSEC was sealed, how did they conduct the election? The office of POSEC was sealed in the afternoon of the day to the election. As at that time, the materials, the sensitive materials, other materials for the election had been distributed to the rack center. So that shouldn't be any problem. However, coming back to the issue of the Attorney General, and that is one of the reasons why the civil society has been calling upon the review of the Constitution for the separation of the office of the Attorney General and that of the Minister of Justice. And the Attorney General is an appointee of the President. With greater respect to our learned Attorney General, the learned Attorney General only reviewed the case which involved the PDP, OCS, APC, and others. The learned Attorney General silenced and pretended as if that is the only case that is pending. We have called on the Attorney General several times to equally review the judgment obtained by the APC. And so if you could recollect, sir, the learned Attorney General, Latif Bademir said, very respect to him, was the counsel to Etola from tribunal to Supreme Court who lost. The Supreme Court rejected this argument. However, whatever the Attorney General might have said only occur in the realm of advice. There is a subsisting High Court judgment which made it clear that there is vacancy at the local government level and that process to go ahead. That was supersede any advice given by the Attorney General.
I want to be able to quote him, Mr. Kolapo. I want to quote the Attorney General so we can hear his words since he's not here physically. It's my opinion that the Court of Appeal judgment of 10th of February 2025, which is superior to any High Court decision, defines the legal position in this case and represents the only legitimate enforceable judgment and has the legal effect of returning the initially sacked local government democratically elected officials of Osun State. And he's also holding that the constitutional order that existed before the dissolution must be restored immediately, since the judgment upon which the governor acted to dissolve the democratically elected government has been declared a nullity for lack of jurisdiction of the court to have heard the case and made those orders. And then he appealed to Governor Adeleke to toe the path of law in the matter and not instigate unnecessary violence in Osun State. And he says nobody benefits from violence. Those are his words, sir.
Now let me respond to that. That's what I was telling you. Attorney General is quite right to the extent that why to be the only judgment of faith. The PDP judgment happened to be the only judgment of faith. It's very correct. However, the Attorney General has forgotten that there's another judgment obtained by the APC upon which there is a subsisting Court of Appeal ruling, so which the APC they are trying to dodge. So we have called on the Honorable Attorney General to equally review the case of APC. You know, in that case, the learned Attorney General did not make mention of the case of APC. He just dodged it. That is why we are calling on the whole world to call on the Attorney General. If the Attorney General is sincere, then the Attorney General is somebody who is knowledgeable. He knows the moment he enters into the judgment obtained by the APC, which has been affirmed by the Court of Appeal, he will not be able to wriggle out. And he wants to do the bidding of those that are appointed in. We are calling on the whole world to call on the Attorney General to review it. But at the same time, there is a subsisting High Court judgment now, which has said all the local government in the state are vacant and elections to go, elections have been held. If they are dissatisfied with that, they should go to the Court of Appeal.
Let me get Jemiu Olaomi, the APC chieftain from Osun State, also to weigh in on this. And I want you to get your thoughts, Mr. Jemiu, on the fact that the Osun State governor says, listen, the newly elected local government officials should not resume at their offices. And the reason we've heard is because people from your party, the local government chairman who were sacked by the governor, have gone and taken hold of the place and they are mounting guard there. So the governor has said, please, the newly elected guys, don't go there, because if you do, you know, we might have some violence. I want you to respond to that and to tell us your views on these local government elections and the new local government chairman who have been sworn in by Governor Adeleke.
Thank you, and good morning, Nigeria, and those who are watching this program. Starting from your introduction and the reports that followed, and the submission of Honorable Kolapo Alimu, I want to conclude that there's a dance of absurdity in Osun for now, and the governor, Senator Nurudeen Adeleke, is the orchestra master. You cannot but be amazed when you see people and listen to them especially those who are lawyers, I know that a common man on the streets will know that the Court of Appeal cannot override itself. There be judgments that Mr. Adam is claiming to have. The CTC that he has refused to bring and forward to the Attorney General of the Federation. You also agree with me that if the Court of Appeal decision of February 10, 2025 is anything to go by, if you understand the language of judges more than I do, but I know that in previous judgments, even the one I participated to cover as a journalist when I was active in service, you know that the judges have their peculiar case. It's either the demand is granted or is allowed, or it succeeds. The argument of the motion of the appellant is succeeds or it fails. Nothing more that you find in any judgment. And as a lawyer, you ought to know more than I do. Second, if you look at the judgment of the Court of Appeal that was delivered, it said the appeal is allowed, and it awarded costs against the state, 250,000 naira. If you claim not to know what the Court of Appeal is saying, won't you also understand the costs that you are to pay as fine? That is one. Number two is election that held last Saturday was better described as Congress of PDP. This man with me, this is my very good brother, had 5 ballot papers at the frontage of his house, which was never a polling unit, and it is on the internet. Second, in my place, they held election at 4 a.m. And that was why the police and security officer engaged them in War 3 in effect. And as we speak today, the dance of absurdity that I earlier said is going on between the career officers of the local government in Osun State. They had a meeting yesterday. The people who have said they have withdrawn their service was there performing swearing in for councillors yesterday. They were also sending people to council secretariat to go and retrieve vital papers. They want to do change of account signatories at the bank. And in Ogun yesterday, somebody was arrested trying to break into the secretariat, and it was asked that he informed the police. There and then, we have the video that it was DPM that asked him to go and bring certain documents from the office. The same thing at Olaoluwa local government. The DPM itself, in red Toyota Camry, attempted to enter before the security overpowered and sent him away. The dance of absurdity continues. You see empty buses leaving Osogbo around 10, 11, leaving Ife around 10, 11, only to come back in the morning with a lot of men that look strange to our society. All right, Mr. Jimmy, I'm gonna have to cut you there because my colleague in Lagos has a few questions for you, and I'm sure that Mr. Kolakpo will want to respond to a lot of the allegations you've made against him. Go ahead, Ayo. Well, before we bring in Honorable Alimi, I'd like to ask Mr. Olaumi, particularly in the light of what you said about the dance of absurdities. Well, media reports has it that the dance of absurdities actually started from the APC, because even before the current governor took office, the Federal High Court in Osogbo nullified the elections that brought in the local government chairman at the time. And so the governor only issued an executive order to enforce that judgment before your party went back to court. So tell us about that. Ayo, when there's a judgment of default and you have the right of appeal, should somebody come up with an executive order to sack you? The point that I'm trying to make listen. I know, but respond with this. On the one hand, the government of APC organized an election. The court
nullified that election before the PDP government came into power. So speak to us about
and they don't have right of appeal. Is that what you are saying, that they don't have right of appeal? Ayo. If you are taking a position, let me know. They don't have right of appeal.
I'm only asking questions.
And when
the point that I'm making.
Listen
okay,
now.
Go ahead.
I think you know me. I think you should know me. If there's a judgment of the court, you are in office, you have right of appeal up to Supreme Court. Nobody should come up with an executive order to sack you. And lawyers listening to you as Nigerians will take my position. That is number one. Number two is, if they have right of appeal and the appeal period has not lapsed, nobody should come up with an executive order to sack them. It's an absurdity. You may wish to take it or not, but it's an absurdity.
Well, the point that I'm making, I do understand you, but I'm not sure you understand the point that I'm making. The fact that the court even nullified that election means that even if the government of the APC government at the time had remained in office, or even if it was an APC government that took over office after the previous government left office, that election would still have been. Just a second. I'm not saying you don't have a right of appeal. I'm just trying to understand what necessitated a situation where a government would conduct elections and the court will nullify it if the rule of law was followed. It's just a question I'm asking.
INEC has conducted an election that has been reverted and given to the opposition. Now, even in case of Adeleke and Oyetola, did they not go on appeal? Don't say a court sack and that is the end of it. Then we are preaching facade.
All right, let me ask Mr. Alimi. Well, one of the issues that I think is being raised, by everyone concerned in this matter is particularly the Attorney General is just a point of law, Mr. Alimi. A point of law that is being raised by the Attorney General. That's one way I'd like to look at it, to raise this question. That look, there is a court order that says that the Court of Appeals judgment should be enforced, should be followed. The same way the governor insisted that the High Court judgment be upheld, one would have expected that the same governor would say, okay, there's another court judgment here, let us enforce that as well. How come not, Mr. Alimi?
Well, thank you very much. Let me correct one impression created by Mr. Daniel Lawudi, that I had 5 ballot papers in front of my house.
I have the photo.
I had, wait.
Mr. Olawumi, please just allow him to land. Go ahead, Mr. Alimi.
2 ballot papers, one for the chairmanship and one for the councillors. The photograph is on the net. However, what the APC did not understand that the late General Lagbaja, the former chief of army staff, hails from my local government. So General Lagbaja, when he was alive, was trying to impact on us. So he picked some projects to do, and it was the maternity health center in my polling unit, Ward 9 Unit 8. There's a video towards it. People will see how I entered the polling unit, and now I left. It was that project that was being renovated. He pulled it down, and he was building another one before his death. And the military came that they will conclude the project. It was in front of that project, which is my unit, and people will still see that during the general election, we will still hold the election in that place. So it is not correct. Don't let us divert this. Now coming back to your question, as per the issue of the Attorney General of the Federation, we have stated one thing, which they have not denied. When the judgment was annulled, the first judgment by the PDP came on 25th, before the inauguration of our amiable governor, Governor Adeleke. The second one obtained by the APC came on 38th November 2022. Now, the issue is this. APC appealed the 2 judgments. Don't let us confuse the whole world. They have right of appeal, and the exercising. They appealed the judgment obtained by the PDP. They equally appealed the judgment obtained by the APC. When they go to the Court of Appeal, they discovered that there was nothing they could say about the case of APC. So they abandoned the appeal. Then they discovered that the case of PDP was actually filed prematurely before the notice was published. They pursued that one. Along the line, the APC went back to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal that this appeal has been abandoned and that it should be struck out. The Court of Appeal by January 13 struck out the appeal filed by the APC against the judgment of the Federal Court, which annulled the local election of 2022. And so that judgment became subsistent. They left it. Now, in the case of PDP, which is under review now, eventually the Court of Appeal nullified that judgment on the ground that it was filed prematurely and incompetent. And contrary to what Mr. Jani has been saying and what they have been parroting, they had 8 prayers before the Court of Appeal. The first prayer 8, you can ask him to read it out, is that the Court of Appeal should allow the appeal, and that is the language of the law. The Court of Appeal with them on prayer 8, they have the Court of Appeal to strike out the suit. Consequently, the Court of Appeal agreed with them. But in their prayer 2, they have the Court of Appeal to reinstate them. The Court of Appeal is clear. And so when you now see the two, when you take the two judgments together, the only judgment that is subsisting is the judgment obtained by the APC. And let the whole world know that even if it is a high court judgment, and you have the right of appeal, and you fail to appeal against it, it has the finality as the Supreme Court judgment. The mere fact that you fail to appeal against it, and it's a high court judgment, will not make you disregard it. Secondly, this time around, the Court of Appeal, they appeal. The Court of Appeal struck out the appeal, and that makes the judgment to be legally binding and enforceable. And that is why we say, if the attorney actually want to be sincere, he would have refused the circumstances of the judgment obtained by the APC and that of the PDP. So, as it is today, the only subsisting judgment is the judgment obtained, delivered by the Federal High Court, which has been affirmed by the Court of Appeal in the APC suit. And that judgment, too, has been given a place by the High Court of Ilesa. So, there is no way they can dance around that judgment and think they will enter our country. Now, let us now take them without advocacy. Assuming without considering, I repeat, assuming without considering that they even have a judgment to be enforced. Our law, by Section 287 and Post 1 to Judgment Enforcement Procedure Rules, above self-help, what they're supposed to do is that they will write to the registrar of the Federal High Court, because the Federal High Court or even the State High Court has the power under the law to enforce the judgment of the Supreme Court or the judgment of the Court of Appeal. They will write with the CTC. The registrar will look at that judgment. If there is a first and another to be enforced, they will now write to the Commissioner of Police. With the belief of the court, it is then that the belief of the court, the police, they will now go to that premises. So what they are doing now is self-help. That is assuming they have any order to be enforced. However, they will not cross that line.
I have to stop you there. I have to stop you there because Mr. Jamiu has been shaking his head before he injures himself. He has been shaking his head for the past 5 minutes. All right, just shortly as we wrap up, Mr. Jamiu, just your response to everything that you heard Mr. Kola say.
Thank you very much. Just in a few seconds, I want to say that I'm seeing a lawyer today who will posit that judgment of a lower court is superior to judgment of the appeal court. You're also talking about enforcement. The belief is coming, and will it come to you or go to the Commissioner of Police? The Commissioner of Police has not denied that the belief brought the CTC. So you are only manufacturing facts, which are not correct. Then, at the first time I'm seeing a lawyer who will say a client cannot abandon his case. If you have 2 cases in the court and you have chosen one, why do you now say because they have not pursued it, they are like the case that has not been argued can be struck out? All right,
Mr. Jamiu, I do have to cut you there because we have to move on to another topic. But I want to thank you, Mr. Jamiu Olawumi, APC chieftain, for joining us on the program. and Mr. Kolako Alimi, Commissioner for Information in Osun State. Thank you again for being with us on the program. And I'm sure this is a conversation that we will have again, because this bizarre dance has been going on for a while. But I want to thank you both, and we'll talk to you soon. Good luck with all the work you have ahead of you. It's a very interesting one there from Osun State. But I'm sure we'll continue to have this conversation. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we talk opposition in Nigeria and its ability to wrestle power from the ruling APC when they have so many internal problems. Another party held its convention over the weekend. We'll be hearing what happened there and the opposition to that convention. Please stay with us.